This is strange. We do it without thinking. You hear something you like, and suddenly you start hitting your hands together again and again and again. But why? Why is making noise with our hands the universal sign of approval? A simple reaction. It feels automatic. A performance ends, a speech lands, a moment hits just right, and the sound begins. Clapping. But think about it. Why noise? Why not just nod? Why not raise your hand? Why did approval become something you hear instead of something you see? A crowd watching. To understand it, you have to go back to a time when entertainment looked very different. In places like ancient Greece and ancient Rome, people gathered in huge crowds, theaters, arenas, public performances, hundreds, sometimes thousands of people watching the same thing at once. And performers needed one thing: a clear reaction. The problem. Because from a stage, you can't read faces, you can't see subtle expressions, you can't tell if people are impressed, or bored, or completely uninterested. And silence? Silence tells you nothing. Make it loud. So the audience needed a way to respond. Something simple, something immediate, something impossible to miss. And the easiest way to do that was sound. Not words, not gestures, noise, hands striking together. Sharp, clear, instant. Clapping wasn't just approval, it was a signal. The first applause. The more people joined in, the louder it became. And the louder it became, the clearer the message. This was good. This was worth watching. This mattered. And suddenly, approval wasn't individual anymore. It was collective. One person starts, then another, then 10, then hundreds, and the sound builds. The crowd effect. This is where it changes, because clapping isn't just about showing approval, it's about amplifying it. When you hear others clap, you're more likely to join. The sound pulls you in, and once you start, you become part of something bigger. A shared reaction, a unified signal. The crowd becomes one voice, and that voice is loud. The meaning evolves. Over time, the meaning stayed consistent. Clapping meant one thing: approval. But the context changed. Theaters became concert halls. Arenas became stages. Speeches replaced performances. But the reaction stayed the same. Because nothing replaced it. Nothing matched how simple, how powerful, and how contagious it was. We still do it today. Think about it. You don't plan to clap. You just do. The moment feels right, and your hands react. Even when you're alone sometimes. Because it's not just learned, it's reinforced. Again and again. Every time you hear it. Every time you're part of it. More than just noise. What's fascinating is that clapping isn't really about the sound itself. It's about what the sound represents: agreement, approval, connection. It turns individual reactions into something shared, something powerful, something impossible to ignore. And that's why it survived. Not because it's logical, but because it works. And it gets stranger. Once you notice it, you start to realize how many everyday behaviors come from things that meant something very different in the past. Like the way we shake hands. It feels polite, normal, almost automatic, but it actually started as a way to prove you weren't a threat. A signal of trust in a time when that really mattered. If you haven't seen that story yet, it completely changes how you look at something you probably do all the time. And once you know the real reason behind it, you'll never shake someone's hand the same way again.